what we're gonna do. Transition into ship talk.
SHIPtalk.
Welcome to this week's Ship Talk. This week we have chosen one of my favorites, the Anvil Hurricane.
Pizza slice.
Yeah, that's another way to call it. Yeah, it's a two-man ship, and it's only effective as a two-man ship. You shouldn't try to solo it because it's not gonna be fun. But right now, let's be honest, the Hurricane is super overpowered and like rips everything into shreds. Like, that turret is super overpowered right now. However, it's super fun. I love the thing. I love the design. I've always loved it. It's really small for a two-man fighter, and it's relatively nimble.
Well, I mean, the good thing about the Hurricane is that it gives you an opportunity to have a badass, quote unquote, smaller fighter, which is actually is a heavy fighter. So it has a turret. It's the smaller of them, and it's pretty fucking nimble for a small fighter. I mean, a heavy
A
fighter,
heavy fighter, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it is.
being able to have that individual in the turret even amplifies its ability to start shredding things and exploding them left and right.
Yeah, and this is where I got my wires crossed with the Hurricane when I did more research. When we were comparing it to the Inferno, I don't know if you guys remember, and I sort of said it's in the same class as the Inferno, maybe, but it's actually it's an interdiction interceptor heavy fighter. It's not what I thought it was, which was like a capital killer. So it is. Yeah, you guys were right
I know.
in pointing out that it's not in the same class as the Inferno and the Ion. It's it's a fighter. It's dog fighter. Except it's got a big ass turret on the back with what four size
threes.
four size threes. It's got
And
two gimbaled size threes pointing forward, so you can make them two size fours.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend that unless you're fine with 10 bullets each. But
Yeah, you can put repeaters though, or as size
yeah,
fours.
but if you put the size 4 repeaters on, the capacitor will only allow for a very, very low ammo count.
I see what you mean. Right.
So
Yeah.
So let me
you should,
ask you a question, Ace, since you
yeah,
have one of these. Now, I'm reading Robert Space Industries website. It's claiming, and we know how this information is. It's claiming that it has a size 7 turret. Can you go to size 7 if you do fixed?
No, it's just
oh
wrong.
no,
That's just
a turret.
That's
Also,
absolutely wrong.
that's just the turret size. That
that's
has
the
nothing.
actual turret size. Yeah, not the
Yeah, that's got
actual
nothing
weapon
to do with
size.
the weapons.
Yeah. So no, you
I
can't
think
put it. You
size
can't.
6 turrets is 2 guns and size 7 turrets is 4 guns. I'm not
Like.
sure on that one.
Got you. Okay,
Yeah,
makes sense.
I don't think.
That corrected that.
I don't think you can remove the turret and put a single size 7 gun.
No, you can't.
And the guy.
The turret is fixed. You always have the turret and
Yeah.
always have size 3 guns on the turret.
I mean, it's a fun ship. Especially in this patch. First of all, the NPCs have got too many hit points. The Hurricanes are like tanks. It's just it's ridiculous. That bug needs to be fixed. This thing went from a glass cannon for like the first 10 years of development to becoming a tank in one fell swoop. So that needs to be fixed. But man, is it fun! And I have so many people that want to just jump into the turret of the Hurricane. Like sometimes people don't want to be in turrets, but having those 4 guns and stuff, it's brutal. It's a brutal weapon at the moment. You can fend off anything with 2 players
Pretty
on board.
much, yeah. But however, I've been thinking about the whole it's overpowered thing. Like yeah, it's a little bit overpowered. It feels this way, but in the end, you always need the 2 players for it to be effective. And I don't know if it's so much more overpowered than 2 fighters, 2 individual fighters.
All right, so let me ask
Because-
you.
Yeah,
You
okay,
guys,
go ahead.
both have one, right?
Yeah.
What do you?
I've got one as a loaner, but yes, I do have one. Sorry, Delta.
Let's talk loadout for a minute. Turret. What are you running on your turrets?
Currently 4 Panthers. And
Okay,
the same for the nose. I got Panthers all over.
so you're running with. Is that
Laser.
what stock is?
On the turret, yes. On the
Yes,
nose, I'm not sure. But yeah, it
they're,
might be.
they're
Yeah,
Panthers as
look,
well on the nose. I mean, because all the weapons have been baselined to the same like DPSs, your only choice is whether you want a repeater or a cannon or a ballistic cannon or a ballistic um, whatever machine gun, whatever it's called. So yeah, I just go with repeaters at the
Yeah,
moment.
right
Yeah.
now I'm doing the same. I mean, before the changes in 314, I used to fly the Hurricane with all ballistics. We had 2 Revenant Gatling guns on the nose and 4 Mantis on the turret.
Oh.
That was hilarious and super bright and super fun, and yeah, all the bullets you can imagine.
so
That
you
was
can
really cool.
actually you can run. You could go to size 4 by just doing your nose fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You could
The
put
Revenants are size 4 Gatlings.
because see right now ballistics are fucked. So I mean I don't run ballistics on anything.
Ballistics are kind of cool for PvP though. They are pretty effective there.
Yeah, for me, ballistics is like in case of emergency, break this.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
push the red button.
you
Yeah.
can't really go and do PvE missions with ballistics because it will suck tremendously. You'll
Yeah.
always face a lot of ships, and you will always have to shoot a lot because desyncing ships and whatnot. Players are not so bad. I didn't have as much desync with PvP as I have with NPCs. So, and you're fighting
So,
one guy instead of like 5 little ships. So if you go PvE, yeah, definitely go with lasers. If you want to PvP and fight individual guys, yeah, ballistics are fine.
So I like to compare. Like we can't. It's good to compare the ships, right? I think in SHIPtalk we should compare like
Yeah,
different
yeah, let's go.
classes, right? So I was wrong last time. So class when we talk about a class of ships, there's a variation within that class, right? They're not all exactly the same, but they have a specific
Absolutely.
class, right? So I'm looking at heavy fighters. This thing is a heavy fighter. Another heavy fighter is the Vanguard series, right?
Yeah, but the vanguards are very different. They're not like heavy fighters. Heavy fighters. I see them like in a separate category.
I
They're
agree
not
Right.
as
with that.
nimble. They are
So
better armored.
I
They got
have one,
yeah. You have one.
and I do fly it a lot, but 314, fuck that shit. It flies like the mole. I mean, to be honest with you, and I'm not saying that being dramatic or over exaggerating. Like it literally flies like the mole, and they need to fix that. Like they completely fucked the ability to fly that ship.
Hmm.
Um, it shouldn't be as nimble as it was. On one hand, I agree, I accept that, but it should not fly like the mole either. It so I don't know that you can really compare it to any other ship. So with Ace saying that it needs to be in its own separate heavy fighter category, that would be true. Especially being able to run, that larger weapon on the front. Was it size 5 we have on that?
Oh, on the vanguard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we get to put a size 5 on the nose. As far as its flight capabilities, it's horrible, man. Like if you
Hmm.
were comparing, say, the Hurricane to that, as far as maneuverability, substantial difference, one extreme to the other.
Absolutely. Don't forget, when you have a class, manufacturers come at it from different angles. So they're not going to be exactly the same. They're going to feel,
Yeah.
smell, they're going to be different. But if the manufacturer says to you it's a heavy fighter, then to me it's in the same class, whether it's the same or not the same. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. They might feel totally different, but that's that manufacturer's um,
Idea of what
idea or
what a heavy
DNA of
fighter.
what
Yeah.
that thing in that class should be, right? So, I mean,
So what heavy fighter would you say in maneuverability would it be comparable to, Ace?
I think like a Super Hornet is something you can compare it to. It's for two people. It's got a turret. It's got about a similar-ish loadout, but yeah, that's about the same class. That one and the Scorpius that is soon to come out. I think those are ships you can compare the Hurricane with.
because
fairly with.
you're right. I was looking at the hit points. I mean, the Vanguard Harbinger at the moment, everything's subject to change, guys. This game's in alpha, yada yada yada, is 42,000 hit points, 42,900, and the Hurricane is somewhere in the 18,000 hit points. So
586.
yeah.
If you think about it in real life, it would be more like the Hurricane is like a two-seater jet fighter, and the Vanguard is like one of those big-ass combat helicopters with loads of guns on it, and that's how I picture them in my head. Like, it's slower, it needs more time to maneuver, it can do stuff differently, and it's super armored and such, and hence heavier and slower and has more drag to it.
If you want to pick up your brand new Anvil Hurricane, you can find it at Area 18 at Astro Armada for 1.2.
Yeah.
That's
1.2
not bad.
credits. No, it's not. That's fair enough.
Not bad, is it? That's a good buy.
Not expensive at all.
That's a good buy.
It's a purchase you won't regret because it's most of all, it's a super fun ship.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it for a while now, and we've been flying it in the first Xeno threat, and we've been flying it in Ninetales, we've been flying it in Bounties, we've been flying it in the second Xeno threat, and we always had fun with it. So
yeah, it's got 4 missiles as well, which is not much. It depends on that turret and those 2 guns pointing forward. But a fun ship at the moment. Fun, especially with a friend. Only with a friend, actually. Only with a friend.
That's worth pointing out.
Yeah, only with a friend.
And a straight OP when you got your friend in it.
Yeah.
That's the other aspect about it.
Well, like all ships, you need to learn how to fly it effectively. I'm going to say this. Because if you don't roll so your gunner has the maximum ability to actually shoot stuff, it's not as fun. And you're going to get your ass kicked anyway.
And it's actually not a very large heavy fighter. It's only the length is only 22 meters.
Yeah,
it's really small. Like the profile of the model is super small. It's maybe half of what the Scorpius is in terms of like surface area.
Do you know what's happened? They had a medium fighter's chassis, which is why you're inclined to like compare it to the Hornet. They had a medium fighter chassis, and they just put this big ass turret on it, and they're like, "There we go, that's a heavy fighter now." No armor, no nothing, just big ass turret, heavy fighter.
It's all it needs.
Good point to make. So Ace was talking about comparing it to the Hornet. As far as size, yes, absolutely. But here's the interesting fact. The Hornet is classified as a medium fighter. So with the Hurricane being classified as a heavy fighter, what we actually have is the Hurricane essentially being a small heavy fighter.
Yeah.
So it's the most nimble of all heavy fighters, and OP as hell when you put somebody in that turret.
Yeah. And it looks like a pizza slice. Named after one of my favorite World War II planes, the Hurricane. The actual Hurricane in World War II. Love that plane.
Anyway. I didn't even know that was a real ship. I'm about to look it up real quick.
English. So this was a little bit of history, guys. So it was launched in 2607. So what, we're in 2951. Like, 350 years ago. This
it's an older ship, but it still checks out.
But I had a rework in 2871. 2871, Anvil Aerospace updated the design to fight the Vandal. So back in 2607. It was mainly used in the Tavaran War against the Tavarans, obviously, and then had a rework to fight against the Vandals. So there you go, a bit of history. I love how some of these ships are like centuries old. It's so cool.
So
I mean, and the whole concept of how the ship is built up comes from the idea of fighting the Tavaran and their superior shielding technology back in the day. Like, we needed something with a lot of guns, and it needed to be fast enough to get there, deliver the punch, and get the fuck out again.
Yeah.
So that's why.
for all the lure lovers, even though it's classified as Anvil and manufactured by Anvil now, it wasn't originally produced by Anvil. It was produced by Case, the CASSE. So it could be Case Aerospace, that is no longer, it's a defunct company, closed down. So Anvil Aerospace inherited the ship design.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were bought up by
Well,
some of the companies.
I'm just looking at their company profile. It says their products. Their products include the Hurricane and Cosmo Sloop. What the hell
What's
is
Cosmos Sloop?
I don't know. I got no
I don't
idea.
know, but I want some.
Sounds like a
Oh, wait.
edible mash.
It's here. Sorry, let me read this. It was founded by former Roberts Space Industry engineer named Leonard Case to produce the Cosmo Sloop luxury spacecraft, released in 2604. Wow.
I can tell you it failed because of the name.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's exactly why I felt.
I'd love to see a concept art on it.
Yeah,
Cosmo
give us
Sloop.
Cosmos Loops.
Give us a Cosmo Sloop.
All right, so I think that covers the Hurricane.
I think so, yeah. So
Let's move
that's it for
on.
SHIPtalk.
Let's move on to scripted lore.